Hey everybody, welcome back to The Will of the Maker. Today we have an unboxing of a new 3D printer I'm very excited about. It's an SLA printer, which is stereolithography, where it uses UV curable resin to create an incredibly detailed model. It almost feels like it's injection molded. So I'm really excited about that. Much smoother, for example, than the old 3D printer I have, the FDM one. A fused deposition modeling printer where it just extrudes plastic like a hot glue gun and makes a model. You can a lot more easily see all the layers. And so this is a Phrozen Sonic Mighty 4K 3D printer. I'm very excited to see what this thing can do. So let's unbox it and see what's inside. Alright, take out some of the foam, and the machine is right on top. Let's get more of the foam out of the way. Alright, let's take off this packaging. And it's wrapped even further in plastic. Sticky plastic, but it protects it very nicely, so it's looking very good indeed. Let's take this guy off. I'm going to take off the bed plate. Get that box there. Wow. That is actually bigger than I was expecting. That's good. Alright, let's see what's inside this box. Pretty decent instruction manual. Have some sandpaper here, and I believe that is to scuff up the base plate if needed, and possibly re-leveling the base plate if needed. USB stick, and then an Allen key and a couple screws. Have a funnel here, some gloves, because you don't want to get this stuff on your hands, power supply and cable, and a metal and plastic spatula paint peeler picker offer. Use the metal one to get off the print bed and the plastic one to scrape off the PEP film in here. Taking a quick tour of the Phrozen Sonic Mighty 4K, you have a screen on front. The USB plug is on the side here, and the power is on the back. There are a lot of SLA printers out there. There's a couple of reasons why I went with this one in particular. One is the build volume. It's a very large screen, which up until fairly recently was pretty rare to find for SLA style printers. So that's a plus. It has a high Z axis, which also means you can print really tall. It's very, the table shaking, not the printer, is very sturdy, made out of a lot of extruded aluminum. It's very, very stiff. Got some linear rails to support the Z axis, the print bed. Just slide that out, there's the print bed surface. But the other thing is, so many of the 3D printers, especially in this price range, are just made in China, and I prefer not to buy that. I prefer to buy this printer because this one, Phrozen is a Taiwanese company, and they design and manufacture in Taiwan. Maybe you didn't know, I spent 3 years in Taiwan, so being able to support them is huge for me. I do that whenever I can. And so I went with the Phrozen, and I'm so far liking what I've seen. Of course, we have to get it set up and printing. Now before we get this set up, let's open up these boxes and see what's inside. In this box we have Tech Tenacious Resin, Phrozen's own Onyx Pro 410 resin, and in this box more goodies. really in there. The SLA-ying Fast White resin. I'll go over what the differences are, but in these ones later on. And then here, this is important here because these here will be for creating a little curing station. After it's printed, take it off the print bed, wash it with some isopropyl alcohol, and then you want to hit it with some UV light. So I got a strand of UV LEDs and a little turntable, which will turn the print around so it gets nice even bathing of UV light. Now without further ado, let's get this thing set up. Starting with the power cord. Alright, the first part of the setup is leveling the bed, and in order to do that, obviously turn it on. You want to make sure the print bed is nicely tight onto the carrier, and then you want to loosen the 4 screws around the print bed. These are how you adjust it. You want to make sure all 4 are loose when you adjust the print bed, because this will allow for some play in it when they're loose. So once it's aligned properly, you can tighten them back up. Okay, so now I can move within reason. The next thing you want to do is remove the resin vat here. Be careful not to drop the nuts into the vat itself. Put that to the side. Then you want to use a piece of paper. Put that on to the print bed itself. So to calibrate, you click Tools, and then you click Z Calibration. You click Next. Alright, so now that the print bed is down on top of the paper, it says to tighten the screws and make sure the paper is unmovable. So let's go ahead and tighten the screws. A little bit more space over here. This side is loose. So a little bit loose, but let's see if that works. And then click Done. Now the next step is to do the LCD test. And that's what that looks like. See, it has several LEDs with lenses inside to create an even dispersion of light. Exposure has ended. Alright, so the next step is to carefully add the vat. You do not want to poke it with these 2 screws sticking up. Okay. Alright, now I'm ready to print, but the first thing I want to do is create the curing station. So let's go to the workshop and do that. Okay, so to build the curing station, I had these particle board cutoffs from a closet project. I'm going to use to basically build a box, and I'm going to use these 3D printed brackets I designed here, in blue, of course, to hold them together instead of just using normal gluing and screwing, and using some brass screws because I have those. But I actually designed the brackets so that the screws are going to be hidden either underneath one board or on the inside of it. So let's start putting that together. Okay, so this is the basic idea. Obviously there are some things that need to be changed. This needs to be cut down right there. And then also these pieces are a little bit too tall. So let's cut those down. All right, so the cuts are made and I put it together and it fits together basically perfectly, which is awesome. The only problem is I did not print enough of these little brackets, so it isn't quite where it should be, so I'm not going to assemble it yet. I'm going to print some more brackets overnight and we'll finish this in the morning. It's the next day and the brackets are done printing, so let's take them off and assemble this thing together. All right, so the UV light strand came obviously with the power plug attached to it. So I'm going to drill a hole in the back wall there, probably right about there, to have this be part of it plugged in, and then I can easily just plug in the power adapter when I want to use it and when I don't want to use it. So the first thing I need to do is get a drill bit that will match this size. It's about 7/16 inches, so I'll find a bit like that and just drill a hole. All right, now that the hole is drilled in and it fits very nice and snug, may not even need to glue it. I need to start putting these together. Now I have to be careful with the order of operations because I designed 2 of the screws to fit underneath one of the pieces, so I have to make sure all the pieces that are screwed in with these 2 holes are attached first, then I can come later and screw in from the sides here. All right, so I got the 3 pieces ready to accept the screws on the inside of these parts. Basically we have the bottom, the back, and the top, and then the sides will slide in and then get the screws in from the sides, like there and there. Now let's see if it goes together how it's supposed to. Screwing that together, that's pretty solid. Look at that. Awesome. Now let's screw it all together. All right, now that it's all screwed together, it's pretty solid. Pretty happy about that. All I have to do is put the UV lights on, and before that, I'm going to prep the surface with some isopropyl alcohol, make sure it's nice and clean. All right, I have the turntable in there so I know where that's going to be. The next thing is, as I lay down the UV light, I'm first going to put the power plug in the hole that I drilled out for it. And then I'm going to start going around the bottom and then kind of spiraling up to the top. And hopefully I have enough. So let's get this in here. Just like that. And here it is, all the lights are off, just the UV lights, and you can see it is easily powering the turntable. Got a part there turning, and I think this should work pretty well. Got a nice spiral going up, fairly even, got it on the top, got it on the bottom, and one line going straight down the back for good measure. So I think this should work pretty well. So I brought the new printer down into the workshop. Getting ready to print. The first thing I need to do is take the bottle of resin and shake it for a minute to get it all nice and mixed in. Alright, that's pretty good. Next step is to get the gloves on. Now This is shaken up. Pour it into the vat. Okay, and you want to fill it halfway up. Probably won't need that much, so that should be fine. Now, let's turn it on. Okay, so I'm back and I figured out what happened. So when I downloaded the newer version of Chi2Box, the software, to 1.9, the printer itself wasn't compatible with that. And so I did some digging and basically I have to update the driver for the printer. And so I've already got the file on the USB stick. And once you extract the update files to the USB stick, you plug it into the printer and then you turn it on and it automatically updates. It'll go through that process. Once that's done, you turn it off, take out the USB stick and you can turn it back on and it's updated. And then you have to go delete the update files off of your USB stick so then you can print again normally. So let's get this thing updated. Plugging the USB stick in and then turn it on. Okay. That sound means it's updating. Info 4.4.4. All right, we're updated. Now, just need to take out the installation files from here and we can start printing. Update files are off. Now let's 3D print. Oh, okay, good. 3D Benchy actually shows up this time. So let's hit go. And the Z-axis is coming down. First layer is going for 30 seconds. Alright, we are almost done. It's 99%. It says it has 1 minute left. It is just doing the chimney, I guess, of the Benchy. Now, up the last layer. That was it. I'm very excited to see how this turns out. It looks pretty amazing now. Obviously, it still has some resin on it. I just did the basic supports. It wanted to lift it up 5 millimeters, but I decided not to do that, partially just because it would have taken longer to print and I wanted to see this thing come out. So here it is. It still has some dripping resin, but yeah, let's take it off and get it cleaned up. I have a little bucket here, scraper there, and then some isopropyl alcohol here. Clean it up and then put it in the UV cure station. That's done. Get this out. As much of the resin out of there as I can. So, let's see if I can peel this off. That's really on there, but hey. Maybe I should have lifted it, but there we go. Alright, so not too happy about these scuff marks, just trying to peel this off. So now these come off real easy. Wow, I can already see this is so much better. Okay. There is some elephant footing along the bottom there, but we'll take a closer look. I just need to get this cleaned up, all the uncured resin off. It's looking pretty good. Now let's take it to the curing station. Alright, so I'm going to turn on curing station and put on the benchy. It's kind of glowing in the UV, that's kind of cool. Let's see if we can get a closer look. I'm going to do this for a minute. Okay, so it has been about 2 weeks since I actually unboxed it, and I have been printing things like crazy and trying to learn as much as I can and improve what I'm doing as I'm going. Starting out with the first benchy here, I was pretty happy with how it came out, basically just out of the box. This was the first thing I printed. The difference between the standard FDM printer, you can see there is a stark quality difference. This isn't by any means a perfect print. The writing on the bottom of the benchy just did not even show up at all. First layers were overexposed, but you know, that's part of learning. These first three were all printed on the Tech Fast white resin. It's basically relatively inexpensive, easy to print, quick prints, 2-second layer times, and they come out pretty good. These were printed solid before I realized I should hollow them out, so they are definitely pretty strong. Then I printed this one out of Tech Tenacious, which is a flexible material. That's something squishy. You can see I can squish in here and it rebounds back slowly. So, depending on what your design is, you can have different sort of spring-like actions, or you can mix it with a more brittle material that's maybe a little bit less expensive, or just has different properties that you want to just kind of mix and tune, maybe 10% of the tenacious with 90% fast, or something along those lines, and can get a really strong, durable print. Then I also printed this benchy out of the Phrozen Onyx Pro 410 resin, which is a engineering grade material, as they say. I printed this one sideways. This one is hopefully a little bit easier to see. You can see where the supports were. All 5 of these benches were printed pretty early on in my resin adventure, and I was still kind of figuring out, the importance of the post-processing. After printing, post-printing, cleaning, and then curing is crucial, and especially the cleaning part. I was originally just trying to spray it with some isopropyl alcohol and cure it after that. Didn't really work. These things were tacky for a long time. I let them cure for hours and they were still tacky. Then I kind of upgraded into filling a little food container filled with isopropyl alcohol and putting them in there, shaking them around, trying to get as much resin off of them, and then I would just put them on the little turntable to cure without letting them dry enough. And so that didn't quite work out as well. It's one of the main reasons why the little turntable here is kind of dirty. And then I realized, especially as I was going, the prints were leaving a lot of the resin in the alcohol vat, if you will. So I started curing the alcohol vat, and then I would filter out the cured resin, which actually did make a pretty big difference. Since then, I have improved even further. I've gotten a food tray to put the print bed on when I'm done printing, and I can more easily just sort of push the parts off without worrying about getting things dirty. So that kind of keeps everything contained. Now I have 2 big containers of isopropyl alcohol that I actually got from IKEA. They hold a lot of alcohol, and it's basically a 2-stage process. The first one and second one, that's definitely helping. And then I'm making sure that the parts dry a lot longer, and then I cure them. And that seems to be working very, very well. So I think I've gotten that process, maybe not 100%, but definitely, looking pretty good so far. I've been printing a whole lot of different things. Some things for fun, some things more for actual purpose. One of the things that was for fun was supposed to be this lockbox or puzzle lockbox thing. It has a dragon design on it, and it's supposed to have this cap that goes in, and you can in theory, play with it, but for some reason when it sliced, it had all these extra artifacts in there that weren't supposed to be there, and it's just completely globbed up the maize on the inside. So this is basically useless, but the quality is incredible. It's the detail that you can get with the resin printers are just unbelievable. Very, very small levels of detail. The dragon scales, everything is just shows up nice and crisp, which with the FDM printer with where I got this guy, you know, everything would be rounded over basically. So it wouldn't be nearly as detailed. Alright, so now that it's been a few weeks working with the Phrozen Sonic Mighty 4K resin 3D printer, would I get another one? Would I recommend this one? Absolutely. This thing is amazing. It works very well straight out of the box, almost zero modification. A couple things in the kit could be improved on, but the printer itself is a workhorse. I've only had maybe 2 failed prints out of many prints that I've been doing the past few weeks. But yeah, so the printer itself, you turn it on and you click print and it prints pretty well. So that is very, very good. Big difference compared to an FDM printer, which has a lot more, I guess, tinkering. The kit itself could use some improvements. For one thing, the power cord it comes with is maybe a little bit too short. A few more feet could have been nice, at least for me. It's maybe 4 feet long on a good day, so depending on where you're going to be plugging in, that may or may not work for you. The funnel is way too small. If you want to use a filter with it, like a paint filter or something that you stick in the funnel and then pour the resin into that to go back into the bottle, you basically need 3 hands to do that, or a bunch of tape. So I ended up 3D printing another funnel that's a little bit bigger. I should have probably printed it even bigger still, but it works and I think I'll be able to use that just fine. And then lastly, the scraper it comes with is way too dull to effectively remove the prints off the bed, which is a good problem to have because that means you're getting good bed adhesion and the print is working well. That being said, I took a knife sharpener and sharpened the heck out of the scraper and rounded over the corners, and that has really helped improve everything quite significantly when it comes to removing the prints off the bed. So if you are interested in getting one of these things, I have links to everything below. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and learned something from it. If you did, definitely hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel because there will definitely be more coming very soon. So I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.